What's going on, everyone? It's Justin here, and today I have an unboxing of Apple's entry-level iPad that starts at a price of $449 and finally has its redesign. You don't have the home button anymore with Touch ID, but instead it comes in 4 fun colors at a 10.9-inch display, and it really unifies the lineup of tablets, which follows the same design scheme as the iPad Air and also the iPad Pro, which I've always said is one of the best designed Apple products to date. This also ends the era of the Lightning port on a tablet because it actually features USB Type-C. And we also have a few different fun accessories, including the Magic Keyboard Folio and also the Folio case that matches the blue color of the tablet. So in this video, we're gonna go ahead and unbox it, go through some of the specs and improvements as well as key features. As always, if you guys wanna see the Apple coverage as soon as the products come out, just make sure you subscribe to the channel, drop a like on this video, and leave a comment down below if you have any questions about the iPad 10th generation that you would like me to answer in a full review. But let's just go ahead and jump right into the unboxing. So now let's go ahead and unbox this iPad, and between all of the colors, I actually don't really know which one is my favorite. I have the blue one right here, which is what I also got for the iPad Air, but typically I would say yellow is like the crazy color I would go for, but as I also mentioned, I typically just go for like a silver or a gray. So you can see like the new packaging here, and you also see that the camera is actually on the horizontal side, which I feel like is pretty interesting, and I think I'm going to prefer that because I do find that on the iPad Pro, I often cover the camera when I'm trying to use like Face ID, for example. But yeah, let's go ahead and open this up. And here we have the iPad wrapped in some paper. And inside the box, you're also gonna find a braided USB Type-C cable and the power brick. So taking a look at the iPad itself, it has that flat edge design, of course, that we've seen on the iPad Pro and the iPad Air. And it's now made its way over to the iPad 10th generation that comes in at that starting price point of $449. The display itself is 10.9 inches, and it is a liquid Retina display that features a 2360 by 1640 resolution with True Tone, 500 nits of brightness, and it doesn't have any home button anymore. Let's just peel off the paper here. And taking a look at the back, you can see this nice blue finish and the flat edges, and you also have the Touch ID button that is located on the top. So I'm just gonna boot it on for the first time, and we're gonna go through this setup process. So of course, on the hardware side of things, it is pretty much identical from a distance to the iPad Air, as well as pretty much having all of the main similarities of the iPad Pro, just from looking at it from the front. The bezels are of course a little bit bigger, and on the back you have a single 12 megapixel camera, but the big differences are inside. It features an A14 Bionic chip that has a 6-core CPU and a 4-core GPU with 16-core neural engine and an 80% increase in machine learning power. Some of the other features include Wi-Fi 6, which gives you faster internet speeds, and at the same time there's also 5G built in for the cellular models. I think what's also interesting is that despite it having a USB Type-C port, it is not Thunderbolt speed, but specifically it actually works with the previous generation Apple Pencil, which means you do actually have to use an adapter to be able to charge it via the iPad because that Apple Pencil that is compatible with uses a Lightning port, which is still a little bit odd in my opinion. One thing that I do really like though is that the front-facing camera is actually on the landscape side. So if you're holding the iPad just like watching a movie and maybe like navigating some apps, or you have it on the keyboard, you don't have to worry about blocking or anything. You can take a look at it straight in the middle, and there's also center stage built in, which keeps you in frame thanks to that wide angle camera and being able to detect a face or a person as you kind of shift around the frame. So now that we have the iPad set up, I also wanted to show you guys some of the accessories that they launched for it. Namely the Magic Keyboard, which I think is gonna be a very popular accessory because with the blue color and like the fun colors that they've gone with paired with the white keyboard, I think it's like a really nice and fun combination. So we're just gonna put this first piece on. And there you can see it just sits over the back of the iPad. And then from there, the keyboard is actually a separate element that you just snap in. And from there, we just need to extend the kickstand out. So what's cool about it is that it allows you to choose between like a hybrid usage of the keyboard. As you guys might know, with the keyboard that is sold with the iPad Pro, it is sort of like a one-piece thing that utilizes it like a laptop with that floating design. But say you want to just bring your iPad around and not have the keyboard, you can just detach it from here and transport it like this. But then when you do want to use it with the keyboard, you just have to open up the kickstand here, and there you go. You can see that there is a trackpad located on the bottom here, and the typing experience is what you would expect out of the typical keyboard that Apple sells for the iPad. So yeah, as I mentioned, this combination with the size of iPad has kind of been my method of choice when it comes to a portable solution that can often replace a laptop, and it's really good for any students out there or people who just want to be able to take notes and use their tablet as a computer replacement due to the access to some great apps in iPadOS. The other accessory here is a smart folio, so let's just place the iPad in there, and this is the one that they have in the matching color to the color of iPad that you've selected. So there you can see it is super compact, easy to bring around, and it keeps the screen and the back of the iPad nicely protected while keeping that minimum form factor and lightweight design, which is just over 1 pound. If you want to use it with like the kickstand or the typing method, it is pretty familiar here. You set it up like this, and then if you want to stand it up and be able to watch movies, then you can just place it like this. So yeah, relatively self-explanatory. It does have that microfiber lining, but I feel like this iPad is one that will make a lot of sense to a very large demographic out there because it still provides quite a bit of respectable power for a lot of web-based applications and also simple applications such as using notes, you can do word processing. Obviously, if you're really into like the graphic side of things and want to use Lightroom, Photoshop, and also video editing in LumaFusion, then you definitely want to look into the maybe M1 or M2 iPad Pro, or even like the iPad Air. But I think the lineup of the iPads is more clear than ever, where there are a few very solid options each step of the way for different consumers out there needing different levels of power and features, specifically attributed to the Apple Pencil as well. This iPad supports the Apple Pencil that has the lightning port, so it has a lot of the basic features, but you do have to use an adapter to charge it with this iPad in particular. But if you want more of the advanced features or the hover features, then as I mentioned, the Pro model is the one that you want to check out. So I'd say in terms of the target market of this tablet, it is for anyone who is looking for a device for their kids or maybe students out there, because if you're running a lot of web-based applications or just taking notes, for example, and doing web browsing as well as multimedia, this is going to be more than enough power with the A14 Bionic chip with a 16-core neural engine. I feel like a lot of the times with the amount of power that the iPad lineup has with the M1 and now the M2 on the iPad Pro, it is essentially a computer level of hardware built into a tablet. And even as a power user like myself, I don't really find that I'm always fully taking advantage of the power that the iPad has to offer just because of the apps that are made for it. So I really think that for anyone who is looking for a way into the iPad ecosystem and is just looking for a big improvement from any previous generation iPad that they have, this is going to be the one for you. But otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching this unboxing of the iPad 10th generation. And as I mentioned, if you have any questions, make sure you leave them down below and drop a thumbs up on this video, and I'll see you all in the next one.